Welcome to Camperdown Cemetery.
Today I'm visiting Camperdown Cemetery, one of the oldest cemeteries in Sydney, historical place, one of the convicts first settlers in Sydney cemetery. Cemetery is very much in the city. At this time probably it was the end of the city. I always like to visit cemeteries. For me it's a connection with the past. I like to read the names. Very interesting. Most of the people pass away very young. I hardly saw anyone in 70s or 80s. Most of the people died in their 50s. It's very common. Early 50s, 40s, 30s. A lot of children as well. It would be very interesting if there's someone here to walk me through and tell me more stories. But as first time visiting this place, I absolutely enjoy it. Hopefully you're gonna enjoy it with me. Just stay with me, walk with me. I've met a couple of people walking their dogs here, and they reckon this is the most beautiful place to walk their dog, or just to come for relaxation in summertime, as the trees are very big and the shade is significant. Very nice place to visit. Recommended. If you visit Sydney, please come and see it and enjoy it.
This enormous tree is believed to be planted in the 1840s. Camperdown Cemetery is the final resting place for more than 18,000 people. We don't know the exact number because a lot of them they did not have the money to put a name on it. A lot of them were like double and triple graves, and the exact number will be never known. Camperdown Cemetery holds some mystery secrets. In the cemetery, a mass grave holds the remains of 121 lives lost when the Dunbar ran aground in the Gap in 1857. Only imagine these 122 people left England and travelled for 81 days to arrive just to reach the destination and to have this accident and to lose all their lives except one person. All these people were buried in this cemetery, and there is a mass grave, you won't miss it out, with a big anchor. This tragedy was described by Gemma Watson as Australia's Titanic. More than 20,000 people attended the funeral at the time. There is another interesting story about Eliza Donithorpe. She was born into a wealthy family and lost her mother and sisters due to sickness. It was interesting how she rejected all the candidates for marriage, and she liked only one person by name George. But when the wedding came, George didn't turn up to the wedding, and apparently they say she was wearing her wedding dress at home for years, and she never married, and she died at the age of 60. Her grave is in this cemetery as well. The headstones you see on the left-hand side, they were removed from the Memorial Rest Park for a reason. I'll tell you the story. A lot of them were smashed, damaged, or lost, but a lot of them were saved and removed by the war. The most mystery story is about a young girl, 11 years old, Jean. Jean lived with her mom, 5 siblings, and a stepfather on Enmore Street, Newtown. At 5 p.m. on 11th of June 1946, her mother asked her to just run down the road to pick up some loaf of bread. 5 minutes later, Joan came back and reported the store was run out of bread. So she asked her mom if she could visit her cousin Hazel. Hazel is her second cousin and she lived not far away on King Street. Her mother agreed, and even though the distance was very short, she only agreed if the young Jean takes the tram and comes back straight away home before the dark. Jean was given 2 shillings and 2 pennies by her mom, and she was asked to gather some bread loaf from her cousin. And this was the last time she saw her daughter. The 11-year-old girl never returned home. An hour later, John was reported missing. Her mom reported her missing at the Newtown police station. An all-night search ended at 8:30 in the morning. The young girl was found in the long grass in the cemetery with her hands bent back and tied with her cardigan. The worst nightmare of any parent. The search of the killer started. Numerous witnesses tried to help out to solve the mystery. A schoolgirl, aged 13, saw Joan at about 7 o'clock in the front of the milk bar. Then another lady saw her talking to a man next to the phone booth, but the man was never found. The murder of the young girl sent a shockwave in the community. The parents kept their children at home, though they were a lot more vigilant about the safety of their children. The funeral was very well attended. A lot of roads were closed for the funeral. Police launched a hotline to gather information about the killing, and more than thousands of phone calls were received, but none of them helped. More than 400 sex offenders were interviewed, but none of these helped. And always something strange happens. Imagine 3 men walked into Newtown police station and claimed they were the murderer. There were no evidence for any of them. None of these confessions were deemed credible, and none of these three men was charged. Later, Joanne's mother, Elizabeth Norris, received a letter written in capitals in a piece of paper of exercise book. Even this letter in capitals was not helpful enough for the police to catch the killer. How nice would be with today's technology if we only have this piece of paper or a little bit of material with the opportunities of DNA, how easy it would be to catch this killer. Unfortunately, this killer was never caught. He lived in the society. We never found who he was. After the funeral, this part of the cemetery where Jean was killed, decision was made to be removed and cleaned, and that's how this place now become the Memorial Rest Park. All the headstones were removed and all the graves are still under the ground. So when we walk in the Memorial Rest Park, there are a lot of graves under. And this was the story about the young girl, Jean. There are many more stories, many more stories in this cemetery. And we can just walk and imagine the life of these people. They come from the other side of the world. They started their life, and how they live we only can guess. More than 18,000 people. Nobody knows the exact number. Another hidden grave, and you don't know who it is. Forgotten. The cemetery was closed in 1867. The reason it was closed was because it was there were a lot of complaints in the community of the smell that came out from the cemetery. There were so many funerals, and a lot of them they buried one with the top of each other, and the graves were open sometimes from 7 until 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, just waiting for the next body to arrive. And the smell was around in the new town.
Morning. They're having fun together, are they? Hello? Hello?
"1867 was closed for the funerals.